Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer, or directed by Warner Brothers? You decide. Suicide Squad. I've seen this film twice now. I seen it once Sunday evening, and a couple of hours ago, I came back from a screening of it about dinner time. And so I've seen this film twice now in cinemas since it come out. It's one of my most anticipated films of the year. I would put it third, to be honest with you, in my top 10 list of anticipated movies of 2016. That being right behind Batman v Superman and Star Wars Rogue One at number 1. So I was really looking forward to this film, and I'm just gonna get this out there straight away before I dive straight into the negatives. And that is, this is a fun film, this is an entertaining film, and I was enjoying it. I did enjoy this film. And it was a blast. I mean, there's no denying that. But this film is one giant mess. And I want to say also that I'm a massive DC fanboy. When it comes to the DC side of the comic book world, I mean, that is where my heart lies. But I really wanted to love this film. I really wanted to, and I can only say the only level that it reached was enjoyable. I just enjoyed it. I didn't come out loving it. I just enjoyed it. There were things that I really liked in the film, and I will get into them in a bit. But and there are things that I could say I loved, but overall the film was just an enjoyable experience. I was a little bit let down. Going back to this film being a mess, I found myself doing the same thing that I did in the first 20 to 30 minutes of Batman v Superman, and that was, well, where's the rest of this film? I mean, the editing was so choppy. It was almost as if big chunks of this film had been taken away, and it was quite obvious there were things missing in this film, and the tone was all over the place. I mean, there were signs of this original film in there somewhere. I mean, David Ayer's original movie was in there somewhere, but it was buried under what I could only, assume is maybe the reshoots that they did. And apparently they were quite extensive reshoots, but at times it was like watching two different films. And that's what I mean by the shift of tone. I mean, you'd be like, one moment you'd be watching David Ayer's movie, and then all of a sudden you'd be watching Warner Brothers film. They wanted to inject kind of more humor and more fun and more action, and you definitely get that. There's a lot of action in this film, and there is a lot of fun to be had, but it's just the way it's put together. It's like a giant mess, and none of it seems to meld together. And I was constantly thinking throughout the film, the two times I've seen this film, actually, the twice I've seen it, the plot, and there isn't much of a plot there. And it's just very I am disappointed, because I think this underneath the mess that is this Suicide Squad, the theatrical version, at least, whenever we get an alternate version on Blu-ray or DVD, I don't know, but this version of Suicide Squad is one giant mess. It's a fun and entertaining mess, but you could just tell there were two different versions of this film, and while you were watching it, that you could sometimes see that other version buried underneath what is it is a very fun, popcorn, bubblegum action type of film. But that is very obviously been injected into what probably was a darker, more kind of somber movie. And again, going back to tone, there were moments where it is quite dark. I mean, this is kind of a dark film, but then you also have those moments, that injection of fun and humour, and it just seemed out of place. The way they did it, it was very tacky. I mean, there were moments in the first 20 to 30 minutes where I kind of found it hard to get into the film. And when it comes to these scenes being cut, I mean, there were a couple of scenes that we seen in the trailers, and they weren't actually in this film. And that was a bit obvious as well, because certain scenes, they were like kind of key moments in the trailers, and they weren't in they weren't in this theatrical version of the film. So it was obvious this film was cut to pieces very last minute. And the writing as well, the writing is very patchy. I mean, there were moments where some of the lines that were delivered by certain characters made me cringe. There was one line right at the end. I'm not going to say anything because this is a spoiler-free review, but it's between the villain and Rick Flag, and it made me cringe, and I was like, really? So yeah, the writing overall as well was kind of patchy, but now all that makes it sound like I hated the film. Yeah, this film was a mess. The editing was really choppy. The tone was all over the place, and not much of a story. The story seems to get lost under all that mess that obviously Warner Brothers wanted to inject. By Warner Brothers getting in there and trying to inject, this extra fun and excitement and action. I mean, it all just kind of gets quite murky, and you don't particularly know really what is the plot. But yeah, this is a fun and entertaining film still, and I'm gonna dive right into the positives now. I didn't come out hating this film. I did just come out enjoying it, and there were a lot of things to like in this film, and there were a few things that I would say I did actually really, really like as in love. And I'm gonna start off with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is without a doubt one of the best things to come out of this film. She nails the performance of Harley Quinn. If anyone have seen the animated TV show back from the early 90s, it's almost as if she used that particular character from that TV show as inspiration, because she sounds exactly like the Harley Quinn from that animated show, and I think she was absolutely perfect. I think she was great casting from the start, and she really, really she delivered an amazing performance as Harley Quinn, and I think that's one of the aspects that save this film, which is the performance from all cast members of the squad. They all perform really, really good. Will Smith as Deadshot. I was a little bit skeptical at first about Will Smith being Deadshot. He is really, really good as Deadshot. He actually blew me away. This is probably one of his better performances in a long time. Will Smith is very, very good in this film. He gives it all his kind of, he gives a lot of heart into this character, and I just really like the way he performed Deadshot. There was a lot of depth to his character, and even though you see kind of glimpses of it in flashbacks, but his performance really delivers this sort of deeper character, which just makes you want to see this character again, maybe in a Suicide Squad or another sort of movie, maybe a Deadshot movie. But I thought he was really, really good. I really like the look of Killer Croc. I just really like the overall look of him. He doesn't really say much in the film. He's got a bit to play within the squad, but I really dug the look of him, and I like the sound of him. I like what they did with that character. Jay Courtney, another one that surprised me. I mean, he's quite a bland character. I think on almost every film I've seen him in, his performance is pretty kind of just boring, you could say. He never really kind of delivers anything special in the characters he plays. But in Suicide Squad, he was actually really, really good as Captain Boomerang. I was really surprised by him. And we come to one performance that I was really looking forward to seeing, and it's the Joker. Jared Leto plays the Joker, and I think he does a really good job. I really liked what he did with his character. It's completely different to what Heath Ledger did, and it's completely different to what Jack Nicholson done. And it's a different. We've not seen this type of Joker, and I liked what Jared Leto did with it. There were similarities in the way he spoke to Heath Ledger's Joker, but I personally think that might be unavoidable. But I just really liked what he did with his character overall, and the way he looked was quite creepy. I think if kids actually gone to see this film, keep in mind this film is actually 15 anyway, but if kids did actually see this film, they'd be a little bit scared or creeped out by this version of the Joker. But this version of the Joker was more kind of gangster type. But as many other people have said, there isn't a lot of Joker in this film, and I kind of guessed that would have been the case. But comparing this to the trailers, yeah, you could actually see which scenes as well that were cut out, and I'm wondering how much of the Joker was actually cut out to this film, because I got a feeling that there was a lot of stuff cut out this film, and I think we've got a situation on our hands, which is what I call the Alien 3 scenario, and that is, there's two different versions of Alien 3. I'm not going to dive into the details of that, but they're both completely different types of film. And I got a feeling that there's another version of this film out there. And I think that's how messy this film is, and how obviously it was cut to pieces. And it made me want to see more of the Joker, and it wanted me to see more of Harley. And I think what really keeps this film afloat and what saves this film is the chemistry within the squad. They work so well with each other. You know, the comic timing and the banter, and they just go so well together. And that's obviously delivered by their performances, because all their performances are pretty good. I mean, Margot Robbie and Will Smith being the standouts. I mean, they are absolutely amazing, but they're all really, really good performances. And it's that kind of chemistry and performance within the squad. I mean, all these characters and these actors playing these characters is what saves this film for me. And then you've got all that action, which kind of it does make it entertaining, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the third act, and I thought that was quite fun, and it kept me gripped. You know, it kept my eyes on the screen. It kept my attention, but this is not the film that I was hoping it was going to be in the end. This film's just, you can't escape from it. I mean, I'm a massive fanboy, but yeah, this film is a massive mess. Like I just said, there's a lot to like in it, and that's mainly down to the performances from the cast. At some point in the future, I will do a spoiler-filled review of Suicide Squad, as I will with a lot of other films. At the moment, I've only kind of really done spoiler-free reviews. I think Batman v Superman is the only review that I've done which had spoilers in it. But I do plan on doing a spoiler filled review of this, because there's a lot more I want to say about it. Yeah, overall I was a little bit disappointed, but I think there was definitely enough in this film to like. I mean, this film is saved by its cast and by their performances. They delivered. You know, they nailed their roles, they nailed their characters, and I can't really complain about any of them. And I think that they are what, Margot Robbie, yes, Will Smith, they saved this film. Yeah, the action is fun. The set pieces, I suppose the action set pieces can get a little bit boring and drab. I mean, this is quite a contained film. I mean, this all happens in quite a contained sort of area, and I liked that. But it was just the way it was put together. I mean, it almost as if it lost direction at times, and it didn't quite know where they wanted to go. And whether that was down to the reshoots that they injected into this film, I do not know. But again, it's going back to this film as just being a big mess. But overall, I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. I was a little bit let down. The performance from the cast was very, very good. I mean, I can't fault any of them, really. They were all pretty amazing. Not much of a plot to it, but when it comes to the editing, the narrative, the tone, it's just all over the place, and the script is a little bit patchy in places. I am finding it quite difficult to actually rate this film, and I've been toying between two grades. I have made my mind up, but is this a better film than Batman v Superman? No. I think this is actually the weakest so far. Out of the three films they've released, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and this, I do think this is the weakest. I don't think it's not as a good film as Batman v Superman, and it doesn't look as nice as Batman v Superman. I mean, obviously Zack Snyder has his style of direction, and he's got a very kind of beautiful, the way he shoots a film is quite, it's really beautiful, and I like the way he shoots his movies. But this film can at times look pretty drab. So yeah, I'm going to be giving Suicide Squad a B-. I was a little bit let down by this film, but the reason why I give it a B- and why it falls into that grade is, there were two grades I was toying with, and that was a C+, which is what I originally give Batman v Superman, the theatrical version. And I was toying with that grade and B-. And the only reason why I've given it a B- is because I did enjoy this film. I mean, with all its flaws and the fact that, it is quite a mess, I did find myself enjoying it. I didn't once go, oh, I hate this. Because I didn't. And I think a lot of that down to is the performances from the cast. and you know, I think their performances were so well done, but the fact that I did actually enjoy this film, that is why I'm giving this film a B minus. It's not it's not a great grade. I wanted to give it an A or an A star even, but it's nowhere near that. I think a B minus is probably a fair enough grade for this, because it's not terrible, it's not unwatchable. If anything, this is definitely gonna get asses in the seats. This is definitely gonna put money into Warner Brothers' pocket, because they've done, they achieved what they've wanted to do, which was to make a film that is, it's fast and it's fun and it's exciting, and this is definitely gonna keep people entertained. And I think this is gonna make quite a lot of money. And that is down mainly, probably to the reshoots. What those reshoots exactly were, I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of rumors and speculation out there. I mean, is the excitement or the humor, and there's definitely signs in this film that they try to marvelize it. I did kind of create a very brief video about that, which I'll put that in a link at the end of this video. But I do feel like they try to marvelize it by injecting that kind of humor in it. But I know at times it felt like I was kind of watching an Avengers film. But overall, it's an entertaining, fun film, if a little bit disappointing. Do go out and see it. And I think this is a film that everyone should see, especially if you're a fanboy like me when it comes to the DC universe. Support these films, go out there and see them as many times as you want to or able to. I've seen it twice. I probably will see it again because I did have fun with it. But like I said, it's just not a perfect film, and it's not what I was hoping it would be. But this is what we've got, and well, I did enjoy it. But it's worth going to see just for the performances alone from Margot Robbie, Will Smith, Jared Leto. Even though he's hardly in it, it's worth that alone. So yeah, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe, and I will be seeing all you guys soon.